guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress. I'm making it for a client. So guys, the first thing you're going to do is to fold your fabric into two, right? I folded the front and the back because this is a one shoulder maxi dress, so the zip is going to come towards the side where there is no shoulder, right? The off shoulder part of it is where it's going to have is going to have the zip. There's not going to be any zip at the back, so that's why I just folded the fabric into two using the bust divided by 4 plus 1, and there's no zipper allowance. The front and the back are the same. This is a fabric folded into two. For the back panel, this is folded into two. The one on top is also folded into two. The width is the bust divided by 4 plus 1. The length is the shoulder to waist plus 1 inch. That's her half length, which is 18.5 plus 1, 19.5. Half an inch for the top, half an inch for the bottom. So now we are going to just go ahead and draw in our pattern. So first thing is the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Since this is going to be a sleeveless, I'm going to do shoulder divided by 2 minus 1. So her shoulder is 16, divided by 2 is 8, minus 1 is 7. Mark it. So go ahead, come down 1 inch, just draw your basic bodice. Insert her armhole divided by 2, which is somewhere here. And then connect it, give it the armhole curve. And then you're going to insert her bust measurement divided by 4. Her bust is 46.5, right? Divided by 4, mark that. And then add 1 inch extra. Come down to the waist. Her waist measurement divided by 4. So her waist is 41.5, like 42 almost. So divided by 4, I'm going to mark that here. And then extra 2 inches because of the darting and the seam allowance. So now I'm going to connect from here to here. Just your basic bodice. Insert the basic neckline of 3 inches here. And then connect it to the shoulder slope. So guys, now that you've done this, all you have to do now is to go ahead and start to cut, right? I'm going to go ahead, cut from here to the top. Cut the shoulder slope out. Cut the armhole out also. But then for the neckline, just for me to be able to mark where the neckline is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mark, come down here, mark 1 inch, like 1 inch depth. And then I'm going to open it up now so you guys will see. So you see, this is what I have. But before you open it up, try to match where your dart will be. So for me, her nipple to nipple is 9. Divided by 2 is going to be 4.5. I'm going to just mark it here and notch it. Remember, your dart at the back will go up to, the one for the dart will go up to the chest line. The one for the front will go up to your shoulder to your bust, which her shoulder to her, you use the shoulder to the breast point, which is 13 for her, but you're going to stop 1 inch before that, so 14. The dart in front is going to stop here. The dart at the back will stop at the chest line. And remember, it's the 2 sides, right? So I'm going to dart this side of the front, this side of the front, this side of the back, the other side of the back. But before we do that, let's go ahead. I just matched it so that I know that this is where the dart is going to be placed for the back, right? But I also like to go to the back just so that my flay will balance well. I come up here by 1 inch also. And then I blend it into the line. So that's obvious that this one is going to be my back panel. It's now obvious this is the back, right? So I'm going to go ahead now and cut off 1 inch at the back. This will help it so that, because remember your back is shorter than the front. Your shoulder to your waist, your half length at the back is shorter than the front. If you use exactly what you use in front, it will make it like your flay will not balance well on the waist, so it will drop and it will not look nice. So to bring up that gather at the back also, you need to pull it up. So but you see, I blend it into the side seam because the side of the front and the side of the back will still meet each other, so you can't make one shorter than the other. So now open up your back panel, and then I'm also going to open up my front panel, and then I'm going to decide the shoulder she wants to be the off shoulder, right? So whichever shoulder you want to cut off is the one you're going to cut off now. So guys, now what I'm going to do is from this side of the neckline. Remember, you normally, this is the front, right? So you normally do like 3 inches of neckline. But remember, now it doesn't matter which one is the front and the back because you're cutting off the one shoulder now. But make sure you place everything properly, guys. Don't make the mistake of, like, make sure the shoulder to shoulder is the same. Everything is placed like this. before you start to cut off. Make sure the two shoulders are the same, and then now you can go ahead and go from here. So from one side now, I'm going to cut it off towards this side. So this is the side that will be cut off now, right? So this is the shoulder that will be cut off. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out this way. And you see, one thing I didn't do is to cut it straight across like this. That's why I was talking about 3 inches. That's that 3 inches of your neckline, so that you make sure that you give it a little curve before you blend into the line. Because don't go and do something that looks like this. Let's say it's still like this, and you go and cut it this way. It will be choking you on the neck. So at least slant your hand into that 3 inches and come down, and then blend it into the side. So now what I'm going to do is to go ahead, pick my dart in front, pick the dart at the back, and then in front I'm going to give it at least, like, let's say 1 inch of darting. I might come down here on the armhole, anywhere on this point, just putting a small dart here. You can use a princess dart here, it doesn't matter, but just so that I will avoid any gaping, because remember, there's still going to be a ruffle here. And one thing you don't want to do is, after putting in my ruffle, then I'll find out that there's still, that this part is open. So to avoid it, I'm going to dart it here before I go and put in that ruffle. So this is just for the front. I'm going to mark a line here. Remember, there was a line I made here which was her shoulder to her nipple, right? And then I stopped my dart 1 inch before that point. So now I'm going to put in a different dart on top, and I'm going to stop again 1 inch before that same line. This is where her shoulder to nipple is, which is this center line. Her shoulder, the waist dart came up and stopped 1 inch before that. This bust dart is going to stop again 1 inch before that. And then I'm going to just mark, it depends on you which, but this person is busty, so I can do 0.75 on this side, and then 0.075 on this side also. And then just pick this dart, just so it's fitted on her, right? So I can pick a dart on this point, and then pick a dart on this point. It will look as if it's princess dart. On this side, it's just the waist dart. There's no need for dart on this other side. And the cape here will even cover this dart. It won't be so visible. So now, all I have to do is pick my dart, like I said, join the shoulder. You can use bias to run it, or you can use your lining to cover it. And then we'll come back so that we can join the cape. So guys, I've gone ahead and joined this. You see, I've run my bias through the armhole, joined the shoulder, put in my dart, and then pick the dart on top of this bust part, right? So now the next thing we have to do, you see, there's no zipper at the back again. It's just my dart here. It's straight like this. So we're going to set this part aside, because this is the half bodice, which is the shoulder to the waist. And now the next part, how you're going to split this depends on you. Like I said, the full dress length is 61, right? And then the shoulder to waist, which is this bodice that we just removed now, is 18.5, right? So if I subtract it from the total length of the dress, is 42.5, and then this 42.5 is what I'm going to split among the 3 layers of my tier. If you are on the channel, you will know that I've done this tier dress several times. So basically, this 42.5 now, I'm going to split it into, I decided to do mine 20, 14, 18.5, right? So 3 layers. The first layer, which is the pencil part, is going to be 20. The second layer, which is the second tier, is going to be 14, and then the is 8.5, not 18. So this together will give you 42.5 if you calculate it together. So now the 3 tiers will give me this. So all you have to do is this first layer, which is going to be the pencil skirt part, the straight one that will come underneath this bodice, the one that will come right underneath this bodice. All I have to do is to add 1 inch to the length. So like I said, it's going to be 20, but I need to add +1 to it. Half an inch of joining this top part to this body of this dress, half an inch to join this to the next layer, which is going to be 14, and the next layer is this one here. It's 14 inches of width, but you're going to add +1 inch to it, which is again half an inch for this to join to this, and half an inch for this one to join to the lower 8 inches layer. And this 8 inches layer, now you're going to add +1.5 to this one, because you need half an inch to join this upper part of it to this, but then you need 1 inch to make this type of fold, because now this is the end of the tier. But it depends on you. If you want, you can do 4 layers. Just know that each layer you're going to add 1 inch to them until the last layer is where you're going to add 1.5. And then once you've calculated your tier, the next thing is, I'm cutting this one as a pencil skirt, right? But instead of a fitted pencil, it might be like an A-line, right? So an A-line skirt. So basically, I folded my fabric into 2 like we did on the upper bodice. This first bodice, there's no zipper at the back, because like I said, all my zip they are going to be coming towards this side, right? They will come to this side here where the off shoulder part of the body is where it will be. So I'm just going to cut a basic skirt here, and then the second layer of my tier is just basically the opening of my skirt. So this skirt is basically her hip measurement divided by 4 plus like extra 2 inches. So what you're going to do is you make sure that your tier, whatever you have, will go around this here times. So let's say if your hip is 48, I can do 48 times 2 or 48 times 2.5. That will be the width of this next tier that will run around this one, right? And then whatever I get for that, after that, I'm going to use round that again times 2.5. That's round of this second layer. So is what I'm going to use to get the amount of ruffle that will go around for this one. You understand? So basically, you're going to start with the hip measurements when you're folding this. The hip measurement times divided by 4 plus maybe extra 2 inches. You already know that. And then the next thing is that hip measurement again. Let's say, like I said, is 48. You're going to use it times 2.5 to get the width. We've already calculated the length to get the width of the next fabric you will need. After that, whatever you got that you used to count this one, you can do times 2.5 of that again to get the lower layer. So that's basically how I'm going to do it. So now let me just cut a basic skirt pattern here. So I'm going to start with the hip measurement. So guys, you see what I did here? Just come up here, divide the waist by 4, mark it. I'm going to do 2 inches of that, 1 inch for darting, 1 inch of seam allowance. Mark that here. If you want, you can skip the darting part. If your waist to hip measurement is not, waist to hip ratio is not that much, then you can skip this part. So I'm going to mark my waist to hip. So let's say now my hip measurement, her hip measurement divided by 4 is 46. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that here now. So once you've marked it, guys, what I was trying to explain is if when you connect your own now from here to here, it's not too deep, then you don't have to put in a dart. But I don't want the curve to be too sharp, so that's why instead I'm going to just add a dart, just so that the curve at the side will not be too deep. But you can do this without a curve. If your waist, let's say your waist measurement, when you put it in, it stops here, then you can just connect it with just a slight curve. But if the curve is going to go so deep, you see how this one could have gone. It might be too deep and make this skirt have like an ear, like a popping part here. So it's just better to add the dart and save myself that stress. So I'm going to also add 1 inch of sewing this and then connect it here. And then from here now, you see, I still have, like I said, I used her hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 because I want to make this in form of an A line. So I'm just going to blend it into the angle of this here. And then maybe take away like ½ an inch at the lower length of the skirt. Because whenever you make an A-line, you always have to chip off from the edge. If not, it's going to drop longer at the side. So that's why I did like ½ an inch, not fully 1 inch. So now, all I have to do is just to cut from here. And then cut all the way to the end of this. And that's basically it. I'm also going to go ahead and cut this bottom part here. And then guys, once you've done that, mark your nipple to nipple measurement so that you can get where the dart is going to be. That's if you're using a dart. So I'm going to mark it here. So guys, you see now, if I'm going to notch it for the 4 parts of this skirt. So if I open it now, remember, like I said, it's on a fold. So you can pick out anyone to be the front, pick out anyone to be the back. So one piece here. And then the second one is this one here. So this is my skirt, the first layer of this tier. So you see, all you have to do now is, once this is done this way, I'm going to just take it, close up the sides, pick up the 2 darts here, and then I'm going to take this flay and join it to this second layer here, right? Join it as a second layer to this part here. And once that one is joined, I'm going to take this other one and join it as the 3rd layer here. And then my skirt part is done, and then we'll come back and finish up the top part of the shoulder. So guys, now I've gone ahead and joined the bottom. So you see the 3 layers are already done, but the top part is what we have to deal with. So all I did here was just to cut out fabric that is about 5 inches, and then the top one is about, let's say, 3 inches. It depends on you the length you want to use. And then you're going to place it on top of each other and just sew it. So you see, I just sewed it on top of this way as I was sewing it, I was just pulling it together this way to make this small pleats. You can use gather anyone you want. So now you see I just sewed it on top, and now you see all the seam allowances are facing up here. So what I'm going to do now is to use this bias now and use it to sew this down all over around the neckline to the side. And once I get to this side now, I'm going to put in a zip, and the zip is going to tuck in the edge of this way. It's going to tuck in both this side and like this. This is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead now and join mine and bring it back so you guys will see what it looks like. So guys, this is basically it here. I've gone ahead and used bias to fold the edge here. As you can see, all I have to do is just to iron it so it will lay flat like this, right? Because as you can see, I sewed the bias but I ran the thread behind. Well, if you want, you can run it on top of this here to help it hold down this way, but I decided to run my bias underneath it. So this is, you see how the seam on the side is. I sewed this into the side, and then this is basically what the dress looks like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please guys subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.